I'm Bill McWilliam, president of Cascadero Copper, CCD on the TSX Venture Exchange. Cesium is one of the world's rarest metals with a growing industrial demand. Drilling is underway on our Tehran property in Argentina to prove up a cesium resource. Cascadero's patent-pending leach process has the potential to make Cascadero the lowest cost supplier of cesium in the world. Visit our website, cascadero.com, or phone us at 604-924-5504.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Vermeulen from TheTechnicalTraders.com. Welcome back to the show, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim.
Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, what kind of action is taking place today?
Yeah, we're seeing some pretty good volatility in Bitcoin today. It's down about 8%, but really over the last week and a half, it's been kind of flatlining in terms of recent price action, which has been huge. We're seeing really a consolidation after that huge run-up that we saw back in December, and now we've had a major consolidation. It's kind of just trading along sideways here, trying to kind of digest the recent moves. And what Bitcoin is doing right now is actually very bullish. We've seen Bitcoin have these parabolic rallies, goes up several 100%, and then collapses and consolidates for a few months. And we've seen it happen 2 or 3 times a year for the last few years. And this is, at this point, it's the same story, same thing. It's in consolidation mode. And until there's some new kind of wave or news, or just finally the momentum picks back up and we start to see potentially another big rally, I still feel as though Bitcoin is going to potentially flounder and trade a little bit lower from this point, but I think most of the downside is done at this point. I think it's going to consolidate, and looking forward, months from now, I think it'll continue to kind of rise back up and potentially try and put in a major double top or test the recent highs from back in December.
Somebody commented that now that it's on the Chicago exchange, hedge funds can short it, and that can have a drastic impact on its value.
Yeah, as soon as anything gets involved with the financial markets, they are instantly somewhat manipulated and rigged. It's just the way it works. You get something like that. It was pure and trading with free market and people, and is just moving on emotions of people wanting, needing, feeling like they want it, which is very tradable price action, and then it gets put into the financial system, and there's probably going to be some manipulation going on. It's going to maybe not be as pure anymore, but definitely some big potential for shorting. Obviously, shorting positions, that's actually one of my favorite types of trades. Even on some of the biggest up days in the equities market, I can still time areas to short the market and make money during an intraday pullback, just because I love the way price falls. It falls 3 to 7 times faster than it rises. So you can see how quickly money can be made in Bitcoin. It can rise for a month and a half and give it all back in 3 days. So it goes to show you how quickly price moves. And shorting, huge hedge funds who know what they're doing and have software in place, obviously can make a fortune with something like this if they can catch a free fall or trigger a free fall.
Is there panic selling taking place on the American stock markets right now?
There is. Yesterday we saw some panic selling, which was Monday. We saw fear in the market start to creep in yesterday, and we saw the VIX rise a little bit. We saw some selling. Today we had a big gap down in equities, and they continued to sell off into the morning. And we're seeing more or less the ratio on the NYSE. We're seeing 8 shares being sold to every 1 share being bought. And that means more or less 8 people are selling to 1 person buying in the grand scheme of things. And whenever that ratio is over 3, I consider it to be panic selling, and everyone's running to the door, and you usually want to start to bet in the opposite direction because the masses are usually wrong during high emotional times. So today we've got the ratio at 8. 8 is a level where we usually find a significant pivot low in the equities market. It's usually an intermediate buying opportunity. And price action itself has actually, on technical standpoints, fallen down into technical oversold conditions, and we're also seeing cycles bottoming out today. So there's a lot of things coming together indicating that today's panic in the market, over the next 3 days, we should see the market carve out a bottom, and we should see it rally back up to at least the recent highs, if not continue to move higher in this bull market. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of price action, I think, happening tomorrow across the board in asset classes. We'll see what Trump says tonight. Whenever he speaks, you know, it usually creates kind of havoc or ripples through the markets in a big way the following session. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things perform in overnight and pre-market tomorrow.
Well, Donald so far has claimed credit for everything positive that's happened to the market. Could he say anything that could boost it again?
I'm sure he could. I'm not sure what he'll say, but you know, he wants businesses to thrive, and I think you know, every time he seems to speak, we see the markets rally. So I'm feeling like he's going to probably make stocks rally, and we could see the safe havens kind of continue to retreat, meaning gold, silver, miners continue to pull back as money flows into equities and kind of falls out of favor for the safe havens.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after the break.
Cypress Development Corp's flagship lithium project is located just east of Albemarle's Silver Peak mine in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. A 12-hole exploration drill program for lithium-enriched claystone on Cypress's 100% controlled properties is now underway. Cypress Development Corp trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol CYP, the Pink's CYDVF, and on Frankfurt's C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
Glance Technologies owns and operates Glance Pay, a disruptive mobile payment technology now live in 16 cities in Canada and about to launch in the US. With revenues up 664% in the last quarter, Glance Technologies has the potential to be a worldwide leader in an industry projected to grow to $1.3 trillion in 3 years. Glance Technologies stock symbols are GLNFF in the US and GET in Canada. Find out more at glancepay.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, marijuana stocks in Canada have fallen recently. Is that a trend?
Well, you know, they've had a huge run in the last few months, and prices have completely exploded. We've been seeing a consolidation for about a month and a half in a very big range, and prices have been dumping out and selling off the last week pretty heavy. Is it the end? I have a feeling there's just a lot of profit taking going on. I think this is kind of the first major, I guess you could say, large consolidation. We've seen significant advancement, and now price needs to stabilize, a lot like Bitcoin. After a huge move up, we're going to see some pretty extreme volatility until it kind of tapers sideways and consolidates and it digests that move. So investors who are fearful are moving out. New investors kind of getting into it or picking up on these lows are moving in, and we'll eventually find it kind of stabilize here. And I think we could see another push higher. I think this was really the first major run in the marijuana stocks. The volume has just exploded for this year, and I am bullish on them. I still think there's still room to go, at least to go to the recent highs we saw earlier this year. But at this point, they are getting oversold, but there's a lot of selling going on, and I think it could still take a few more days and potentially a little bit lower prices before a bottom gets carved out.
Is there any thought about, it seems because provinces are in charge of recreational sales when it becomes legal in the summer, there's such a hodgepodge of regulations and rules, it's going to make it very hard to sell consistently across the country, isn't it?
I think it is. You know, I have a friend who is a police officer and here in Ontario, and they have no idea. Nothing is in place for them to even, you know, if somebody is smoking in the car, they just don't have anything to do the test. They have to just simply call it as they see it, and by the time things can get put through the legal action, nothing is going to stick. It's a complete nightmare on the legal side of things, and same with probably selling from province to province. And it seems like it's a total mess and a nightmare, and they shouldn't probably be rolling it out until some of the things get sorted out, because the police have no idea really how to handle it, because whatever they do could just be dropped if that person goes into court to fight the argument, and there is no hard proof, and because there isn't a testing phase yet for on-road testing. So the whole selling and legal side is a total mess in Ontario, and probably like that in other provinces.
Well, isn't Ontario just starting off with 22 outlets?
I'm not sure what they're starting out with. It feels like a lot more, because in my town, just a few small towns around me, I'm out in a rural area, I think we've got 5 or 6 huge grow-ops around our area. We've got one just popped up in our town. It's actually Canada's largest grow-op, which blows my mind. But, you know, not that long ago, they were just rumors, and there was only a couple, it felt like, in Canada, and now I'm surrounded in 6 or 7 of them in just a 15, 20-minute drive each direction. So it's going to be interesting to see how many retailers actually pop up and how it's going to be sold.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after this.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Magnum Gold Corp. Inc., MGI on the TSX Venture Exchange. A 2015 drill program on the LH property intersected high-grade gold, including 16.9 meters of 13.58 grams and 11 meters of 20.66 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program is planned to further evaluate previously identified subsurface high-grade gold mineralization. Please visit our website at magnumgoldcorp.com.
Keep informed. Receive our weekly recap of thought-provoking articles, podcasts, and radio delivered to your inbox for free. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage, HowStreet.com. Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, what's happening on the precious metals front?
Yeah, precious metals have had a significant run this year, really from December, and it actually mirrors a lot of like what we saw last year from December into January, February. We saw precious metals have a strong run. Same thing has happened this year, and this time we ran up more or less last week, and we hit a recent high, putting in a pretty significant double top from late last year for gold. And gold pretty much tagged that level, and since then, the last 4 days, it's been moving lower. And the U.S. dollar is also trying to carve out a bottom. And I think with all these things coming together, we're starting to see sellers and people be a little more nervous about getting into gold up here at resistance. And I feel as though gold and miners are going to pull back here still for another week or so going forward. And, you know, you look at the chart of palladium, and you look at the monthly chart, you go back to 2000, you can see we are in a huge major double top. I actually posted an article on it saying, you know, on the monthly chart, this is a point here to get short palladium. It should pull back for 1 or 2 months, and that was on January 24th. And here palladium is, it's got a huge monthly reversal candlestick. It's down 5% in the last couple days. And it's just really kind of picking up momentum to the downside. We could see a pretty big drop in palladium, and I think it'll bleed through into precious metals. I think the whole precious metal sector is going to get soft here, a lot softer than what people think. It could take a couple months for it to more or less stabilize and trade sideways before it takes a run up to try and break out of this bull market that the gold market has been kind of flirting with over the last several years, or forming. So I think there's a lot of excitement coming with precious metals, but we are on a downward swing, and I think we're going to see softness and sideways price action in precious metals.
Now, isn't there a big demand for palladium because it's used in catalytic converters, and there's a huge demand in China?
There is, but you know, when you're looking at a very long-term chart and a double top on a monthly chart where both prices have gone parabolic, meaning they're going straight up, and they both hit the same levels, usually you see it's more technical than anything else, not news-based. When that level gets hit, big sellers step in and they take advantage of it, and they short it, and people who bought up at those prices years ago are now selling it to get out at break even, and it just creates a retraction, price to collapse it and come back down. So not so much on the news or the reasons for it, other than it looks like a purely speculative technical trade setup for palladium.
Cobalt has really increased in value. Is that a play to look at?
To be honest, I haven't really looked at cobalt. I haven't looked at it this year, so I'm not sure where that is trading.
It's huge. The price is getting so high that they might have to start trading it in ounces instead of pounds or tons.
Oh, wow. I'll have to take a look at that. Interesting.
It's the electric car industry. Are there other metals involved with electric vehicles that you should be looking at?
Silver's definitely a big user, and I really like silver long term, simply because I like the way it moves. I like the price of it, and the chart action alone for silver has got lots of upside potential. To me, it looks like it's very close to having a huge breakout. On a percentage basis, it'll put gold to shame. I think we could see silver go up, 100% fairly easily, whereas gold, that could be a pretty good stretch for gold to reach anytime soon. So silver, to me, has got a lot of power behind it, and I like the way it moves. And with all the electronics, everything coming out, silver is continuing to creep up in demand.
Chris, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Hey, always a pleasure, Jim. Thanks for having me on the show.
My guest has been Chris Vermeulen from thetechnicaltraders.com. If you have any questions for Chris or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. You can find us on Twitter @HowStreet. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.